Halftime in Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
They are underway. The United States taking on Germany in the women's semifinal.
Lauren Brooks will be paying attention to this program for the next 2 hours. Don't worry.
I will have my eyes locked on the television, but I'll be listening to everything that the two of you say. And let's give a little preview as to the video that we just put together, ladies.
Yes, a reminder that the Heels are headed to Vegas, and you can too. Our contest ends on Friday. So we just put together another nifty little video that'll be coming to your YouTube, your social media channels tomorrow morning, first thing. Reminding you, 1010XL.com/Vegas. That is where you can enter to win a free 3-night stay, Circa Resort and Casino, $200 food and beverage credit, a day-bedded stadium swim. Taylor Dahl, I'm not sure there's a better deal going in sports right now.
Honestly, I mean, I have told multiple friends about just the trip in general, and immediately a bunch of people were already planning on going to that game because it's one of the better road games in general when we're talking about the Jag schedule this year. But the place, Circa Hotel and Resort, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen Stadium Swim, just Google it because it's fantastic. It looks like I will not want to come back. But I'll also be very tired,
To the point that people in this building are literally joking that Taylor is never going to come back.
She's not going to make it.
What happens in Vegas
stays.
Taylor actually stays
in Vegas.
So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I will say that I have a good feeling about that Jags-Raiders game. As we are about to look at the first 5 games and the odds for the Jaguars win total, which surprised me, I'll say that right now, it's interesting when you go through training camp and you watch, obviously, the Jags offense, defense, and special teams so closely, you start to maybe form opinions that are a little bit different than you had maybe in April during OTAs. And so then I start to look at the Jaguars' first 5 games on the schedule, and I don't know if it just occurred to me, but the first 5 games are kind of hard.
Yeah.
Like, I think when we first did our schedule predictions, I was like, okay, the first 5 games, not so bad. But now, again, probably seeing some of the interceptions that have been thrown at training camp, seeing the fact that the offense hasn't been, I would say, perfect necessarily each day, I'm now starting to look at the first 5 games going, okay, well, maybe this is more difficult. But the Jaguars start at the Dolphins in Miami, then home against the Browns. They travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills for Monday Night Football. Then they're at the Texans and then home against the Colts. So the odds PR group have the Jaguars through those first 5 games winning 2 games. And at first that surprised me, but then, like I said, I started to go back to the schedule and I thought, well, that is a challenging opening stretch.
Yes, and I think that what we need to remember is, comparatively speaking, last year when we looked at the schedule in the second half of the season, which again was the first time the Jaguars were facing a first-place schedule since 2018, and unfortunately they had to face the AFC North, which 3 of the 4 teams made the postseason from a year ago. And so before we knew Jake Browning would be starting against the Bengals, before we knew Joe Flacco would be the starter against the Cleveland Browns, you looked at that schedule and you said, wow, Burrow, Deshaun / the Browns defense, and Lamar Jackson in 3 consecutive weeks in the middle of December. Granted, you have several weeks to get your feet under you. You play a young Colts team twice in the first 6 weeks of the season. You get to go to London. You get that out of the way. But then you have that meat and potatoes difficult part of the schedule early. This year, it's the opposite. When I look at the Jaguars' schedule, what I see is a gauntlet to begin the season. It's going to be no easy road to get to London, to get to a late bye week in the middle of November, if not end of November, depending on how you're looking at it. But when they come off of that bye, you have 4 of your remaining 6 games against the division, always tough. You face the Jets, we don't know what they'll be, and you face the Raiders. Comparatively to what you faced last season outside of the Carolina Panthers the second to last week of the season, I think you would sign up for this. Hey, you control your own destiny. The last 6 weeks of the season, pull it together, comparatively to what you had to face a year ago.
Well, definitely. I think that is a part of why the end of last season was even more disappointing, because you were going into being like, this is going to be a tough stretch because you're facing Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. You didn't have to face Joe Burrow. You've had to face a very beat up Browns team and still couldn't win. So I think that was why it was even more disappointing to me when you look at it. Yeah, I think that the top of it is very difficult. I think you have a few games in the middle where you're like, okay, these are very winnable. And then you get another little stretch, in my opinion, when it comes to the Packers and the Eagles and the Lions and the Texans again, where it is another little stretch in the middle that is difficult. But then the end of the schedule definitely is winnable. So if you do what you need to, if you just honestly, I would say go 500 in the top, you can be okay because of the way the end of the schedule looks.
And that's actually similar to what we saw the Bills in 2023, where everyone thought the sky was falling, everything is going to heck in a handbasket real quick in Orchard Park. And the truth of the matter was, now granted, they did have to face the Miami Dolphins, who were a playoff team, in the final game of the season in order to win the AFC East. At the same time, they had that Week 13 bye week. So they had 5 games. So they had to play, what's that, Lauren? That's 12 games before they got to their bye.
Yeah.
When they came off the bye, yes, they had to travel to Kansas City. Difficult test. Home against Dallas, who at the time, kind of all over the ballpark. At a Herbert-less Chargers. Home against the New England Patriots, who would be picking 3rd overall. And then at a reeling Miami team. And they won out those final 5 games. I'm not going to compare the 2024 Jaguars to the 2023 Bills, but lest we forget that 2023 Bills team at one point in time was 4-3, then lost 2 of 3, actually make that 3 of 5. And everyone said, I don't know, they're a middling 500 club, 6-6 at their bye week.
Yeah.
And certainly, like, the 2017 team started off win-loss through those first 6. And so you weren't sure if that was going to be a playoff team. Obviously, the defense was good enough and the run game was good enough that they were able to make the postseason that year and certainly went on a run. But I guess I can argue the point that the Jaguars are only going to win 2 games when I look at it. At first, like I said, I was shocked. I was like, of course, they can't be with some of those bottom feeder teams in the NFL. When you look at the odds that those types of teams like the Patriots are expected to only win 2 through 5. A team like the Colts is only expected to win 2 through 5. And then most other teams, the good teams, are expected to win 3 or more. But if we break it down, so the Dolphins with all that speed, the Jaguars defense, I think, is going to be really good. But they're not going to have faced a test like a Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, even as good as these Jaguars receivers can be. They're not going to face a test like that.
And they got to go on the road.
Right off
and
the
they
gate,
have to go on the road. Right, absolutely.
We were working on our travel plan yesterday. I mean, it's a reminder. And even as we were talking about post-game stuff that we're going to be working on for the 1010XL social channels, we were discussing it. Gus Logan and I were just saying, Lauren, the Jaguars between September 8th, week 1, and the last weekend of October, we won't count the cocktail party November 3rd, so that's what, October 27th. I should know that because my birthday's the Friday before. That's when they host the Packers. September 8th to October 27th, they will play at Everbank Stadium twice. Twice. That is perhaps the most difficult part of the schedule. At the same time, this is a team that played better on the road than they did at home last year. Can't guarantee that'll be the same this year.
Yeah, that's what I think. We can't, just because last year, yes, they were better on the road than at home, I don't think we can extrapolate that to this
But it
season.
is wild to think 3 of your first 4 are on the road, and then you also have the London back-to-back thrown in there, which, yes, I understand one of them is a home game, but at the same time, you are not playing in the confines of your own stadium more than twice for a month and a half, almost 2 months.
Yeah, and that's what I think, that you already know that games on the road, there's a little bit extra level for that team that is playing at home. I also think the Dolphins, with everything that kind of was going on with Tua this offseason, and there's a lot of criticisms around Tua, and then Tyreek Hill gets voted the best player in the NFL and the NFL top 100. So there's a lot of, I think, extra fire under them right now. And like we said, I mean, I think week 1, this may feel different if it was like a week 5, 6 opponent, because you may feel like, okay, the Jags will be able to settle in a little bit more, like the new pieces of the defense and that outside corner and everything will have a little more time together. But nope, like, this is your first time full speed go, and it's against the Dolphins, who have one of the more high-powered offenses in the league.
We don't know what they will be as much as we say we do, but they also don't know what the Jags and Ryan Nielsen will have.
Yeah.
And I would love to go back, and I may here just momentarily first I'm going to read this stat, and then I'm going to go back and look at that. Ryan Nielsen's defenses, both with New Orleans and Atlanta, against Mike McDaniel and Miami the past 2 seasons. Real quick, because we're always keeping tabs on that team out in the great state of Texas. Not the great state. We don't like Texas. The Texans bye week 14, after the Jags, almost into December. They play 4 games after their bye week. Home against Miami, at Kansas City, home against Baltimore, those 2 games coming in a 5-day span, and then at Tennessee to end the season.
First place schedule. That's what happens.
Exactly. And that is where I do anticipate, look, the Texans will be a good outfit this year. I believe that. But there has to be a regression to the mean because last year to end the season, they're facing the Jets, the Titans, the Colts, akin to the Jaguars did at the end of 2022.
Right. And so then, assuming that the Jags win their 3 home games, then they can go 3-2 in that first 5 because they're home against the Browns and then, they only have 2, like we said, and then home against the Colts. So they have the 3 road games at the Dolphins, at the Bills, at the Texans. We can convince ourselves that the Jags can certainly beat the Bills because the Jags have had the Bills number. At the Texans, yes, the Jags beat the Texans on the road last year. The Texans won here. But there's so much, I think, at this point in time that I feel more confident in the Jags defense through this part of training camp than I do the offense. And so that's what makes me nervous. Can the Jags offense keep up with a high-scoring team in the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Can they keep up with what we expect to be a high-scoring team in the Bills, even though they've had a lot of turnover there? And certainly a high-scoring team in the Texans. That's where I'm wondering if in the beginning of the season, the Jags offense will be firing on all cylinders.
It will be when I looked at this, because at first I kind of had the same reaction, Lauren, where I was like, what, 2? And then I go back and I start looking, and I can genuinely argue that they could only win 1 of these games, and then I could argue they could win 4. And that's how much I think that is kind of TBD right now of where and how ready the Jags offense is going to be and defense. But I think that with Ryan Nielsen and what he's going to bring, I do expect them to be very aggressive very quickly, which I do think that will be beneficial. For me, it is more so the offense. How quickly is everything going to be firing and on all levels?
Dolphins 3.5-point favorites, the way too early projection on mybookie.ag. I am also sad to report that Mike McDaniel and Ryan Nielsen have only faced off once.
That's what I
And it was in the preseason. That was a 19-3 Dolphins win, so we can probably throw that away as it was a preseason game, because I do think you're talking about one of the brightest minds on the offensive side of the ball in Mike McDaniel and one of the brightest minds on the defensive side in Ryan Nielsen, and the chess piece and the chess match that ensues between minds like those two. That's what I'm most fascinated to see.
Yeah.
Talk
About very different personalities, too.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely that. But
Which, by the way, I was workshopping this the other day. What's the name? Sam, I'm blanking his last name, the actor.
Acho?
No. That's a sports guy. I'm talking about the actor. He's in with from Parks and Rec. He's like the other Ron with the gray hair and the mustache.
I'm terrible with
He
actor
talks
names.
like with the slow drawl. I forget why I'm blanking on his name. I've decided that that's who my Ryan Nielsen spirit animal is. Like that's Ryan Nielsen in like 30, 40 years right now. And it's
Sam Elliott. Is
yes,
what you're
Sam
talking
Elliott.
about?
Yes,
Yeah.
He gives me Sam Elliott 25, 30 years earlier. And I love Sam Elliott. So
Yeah, I do
that's who I'm going to now think of. I know for those of you who listened to the previous iteration of XL Primetime, you love when we would play Lloyd from Yellowstone whenever Trent Baalke came up. I feel like we may need a Sam Elliott drop at some point, RJ, whenever we bring up Brian Nielsen.
Speaking of the Jaguars defense, Mia caught up with Jaguars rookie cornerback Deantre Prince. We'll let you hear that interview when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. And, oh, by the way, welcome to a brand new sponsor of our Tuesday programs, Active Health Jacks here on the South Side. They will treat the source of your issue, not just the pain, so you can avoid surgery, cortisone injections, and pain medications. Give them a call, 904-296-0202, or you can visit them at activehealthjacks.com. I've had a lot of neck pain over the last few years. I went in there, and within one session, my neck pain was gone. Again, 904-296-0202 or activehealthjacks.com. We'll be back with that interview from Trey Prince next on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games, sponsored by Grainger. With supplies and solutions for every industry, Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Women's soccer semifinals getting started right now. Team USA and Germany. It's a rematch from the group stage. The U.S. won that 4-1. Women's volleyball quarterfinals. USA up 2-0 on Poland. Men's basketball quarterfinals. Serbia was down 24 in the first half, stormed back to stun Australia in overtime. Serbia will face either the top seed USA or Brazil. which is coming up this afternoon. Also this afternoon, the women's 200 meters. American Gabby Thomas is the gold medal favorite. Women's park skateboarding, American Bryce Wettstein is in 4th place with 1 run to go. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wellness means something different to each of us. And at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we believe every step is an opportunity to enhance your well-being. Whether it's guided group runs and workout gear on demand, or nourishing food options and restorative rest in our heavenly bed, when you travel, you can find wellness at Westin, one of 30 hotel brands in the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio. Find wellness at Westin.
We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. The good news? MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Mia here and dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home thanks to MyBookie. The live casino is so easy to use, folks. I just go to mybookie.ag, and instead of pressing that trusty sports book, which you should also check out on the upper left-hand corner, I slide 2 spots over to where it says Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And yes, you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. That's promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pit masters since '68.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and Twitter to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatersparking.com and book your space today.
It all comes down to Daytona in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 race weekend, August 23rd and 24th. Answer this question for a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 24th. Who has the most victories in the Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010. Who has the most victories in the Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name only to 641-1010 for your chance to win.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman.
We take you from the water to the woods
on the Nimnet Outdoors Show.
Presented by
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Don't ignore unusual aches or new pains down there. Be proactive and get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, or kidneys. Early detection is the key. With 5 locations across Northeast Florida, visit AckermanUrology.com.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Brian Wall here. Would you take your paycheck, go to the bank, cash it, and then simply throw it up in the air? I didn't think so. But in a way, over the years, that is exactly what you're doing if you have old or builder-grade windows in your home. Even if you have a brand new home, those windows are not the best windows you can have to save on your energy bills. Window World has sold millions of replacement windows to homeowners like you, and Window World's customer satisfaction is the highest in the business. Please check Window World out yourself and save on your new windows and on your energy bills. Compare with other companies and you'll see Window World is simply the best for less. It's up to you. You can call Window World and get a free estimate, get the best guarantee in the window replacement business, save money on your new windows, and save more on your energy bills. Call Window World today at 904-443-7001 or go online to windowworldneflorida.com. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. 0-0 through 22 minutes of this Olympic Games semifinal between the United States and Germany. U.S. early on had a nice shot on goal by Rose Lavelle, but the keeper for Germany stopped it. All right, before we get to Deantre Prince, Mia, you said that some people want to weigh in on our first topic of discussion. That is, how many games will the Jaguars win through the first 5?
Yeah, thank you to the Heeligans on the MyBookie Digital Studio. Y'all are always so lit, especially on a wonderful Tuesday, which, again, a shout out to our new Tuesday sponsor, Lauren.
Yes, Active Health Jacks. They're fantastic. Visit them at activehealthjacks.com. And like I said, I've had neck pain going on for a long time. Went in with one session and walked out and felt so much better.
So I Am Day says the Jags will be 3-2. This is the one I really wanted to get to, thanks to an old brownie. The Jags pay Trevor a lot of money. If the defense doesn't suck, I'm expecting a win in 3 of the first 5 games. Robert also adds, I kind of want Doug to get the red zone tape of the 1999 and show the offense to the team and say the 1999 red zone offense was the best in the NFL. I'm assuming that is with regards to the Jaguars' 1999 red zone offense.
If we're going off of Taylor, quarterbacks that have gotten paid a lot of money, Tua Tagovailoa is in that category.
Yeah.
Deshaun got paid a few years ago. Josh Allen's gotten paid. Buffalo Josh Allen. So I don't know that you can necessarily translate like that.
And that's what I hope he's an outlier, because actually Dan and Jeff were talking about this morning, and only one of the most recent, and this is like obviously Tua and Jordan and Trevor are the most recent when it comes to new contracts, but with Kyler and with Josh Allen and with Jalen Hurts, and there was literally a list of like 7 or 8 quarterbacks, and only one of them didn't decline after they got paid. And like some of them were less drastic. Like one was, Super Bowl, and then they just made it to the divisional round the year before. But multiple got paid. Daniel Jones was another one, got paid, and then the next year either didn't make the playoffs or regressed in some way. So it's like, the correlation between the money probably isn't the one we want to look at the most.
Kyler Murray probably would fit in that category as well.
So since so many of you want to weigh in, we're going to get it out on X into the ethers as well. Again, this is Odds Pro, Lauren.
Odds PR.
Odds PR. Odds PR has the Jags winning somewhere between 2 and 3 games. So one or the other, the best odds through the first 5 games of the 2024 regular season. What do you think their record will be through those first 5 games? That will be our Helmets and Heels question of the day that you can weigh in online or again on the text line, Design My Lifetime Enclosures, or the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line.
I mean, you caught up with Jaguars rookie cornerback Deantre Prince yesterday. How was he?
Yes, good news. Much like Jarian Jones, I'm very glad I lead these interviews by asking, what do you want me to call you? What do you go by? He does go by Trey. So Trey Prince, he'll answer to Deantre as well. I know we discussed with Joshua Cephas. Mm-hmm. He'll answer to Joshua. He'll answer to Josh. He'll answer to C4. And so Trey is what his teammates call him. But Trey, it's funny. Comparatively, I think he and Jarian will always be compared to one another because they were selected in the same draft class by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But they also, in terms of personality, couldn't be polar opposites. One of them, we know, the Florida State guy. He's quite the talker. Trey, not so much. But Trey's a little baller, man. Again, I counted 6 pass breakups at practice yesterday. 2 of them came courtesy of him. He had the highlight of the day Friday, a one-handed interception during team period. So here he is. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars rookie defensive back Trey Prince. Trey is what Deantre goes by, yes?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
We're rocking with Trey. Trey coming off of quite the display by the defense here at the indoor facility at the Miller Electric Center today. Would you say today was perhaps the most amped up you've seen this Jaguars team?
No, not really. DBs, we always bring the energy. We feel like we're supposed to bring energy every day. So that DB room, we just make sure we bring energy to practice every day and, try to make sure everybody else is energized as we are. So when we make plays, we celebrate as a team and we have fun with it.
So you had 2 pass breakups today, more than a half dozen for that DB room and the safeties and the entire defense as a whole. 11 practices into training camp, your first training camp. Emotionally, physically, what has been the biggest challenge so far?
Just staying consistent with, with the attitude, my mental state and my attitude. It's been very fun having guys like, Andre Cisco and things like that to, guide me through and make sure that I'm good spiritually, emotionally, and taking care of my business because this is now a job, So now I got to wake up every morning, get to work. So I say dedicated. I'm very dedicated to that.
Andre is the player. You've really been picking his brain. Any other guys that you've been kind of latching on to?
Just all the vets. It's cool just to come in the building with vets like that, and you have their full support for whatever you want to do. So just all my vets.
A couple months into Ryan Nielsen's defense, how does it fit your skill set?
I fix it a lot. I'm a man corner. I love man. I'm willing to follow whoever I have to follow to, get the job done, and I feel very confident in my ability to do that. Speed-wise, technique-wise, whatever it is, I'm very confident in myself against anybody.
And I know, of course, special teams, another area of focus. How much special teams did you play in college versus how much you're playing now?
I played a little bit in college all my years, so I was kind of in special moments for special teams in college, but now it's majority special teams, which is absolutely fine. I love the fact of getting on the field and just showing a lot of effort.
When it comes to this rookie class, you had a lot of different ties, whether it was Brian, the fact that you played against him in the SEC, Jarian, your days back in Mississippi. Let's start with the on the field with Brian. When you went up against him when he was at LSU versus now, how have you seen his growth?
He's grown tremendously. Since we actually talk now, he was just, a good receiver that I had to face. Seeing his personality, just coming into this transition, he's a great guy. Every day he comes to work, and I look forward to holding him every day, so I get that same work. So we both got similar work ethics, and I feel like he's a great receiver.
We have said, we've heard that breaking him out of his shell has been a focal point for the veterans, for the coaching staff. As a rookie group, does he come out of his shell a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's definitely out of his shell. That's just based off the bond that we all created as rookies coming in so early before the summer and things like that after we were drafted. So we got our own group chat as rookies, and he definitely comes out of his shell a lot with us.
Am I safe in saying that of that rookie class, Jarian's the biggest talker of the bunch?
Absolutely. Days back in Mississippi, he always had the biggest mouth I love him to death, though. He's like my brother, so we completely opposites. He talks a lot, and I don't talk that much. So he needs to calm down a little bit, and I need to, show my emotions more.
Because when did you guys first actually meet? Do you vividly remember the first time you met him?
Absolutely. All-star game coming out of high school. It was Mississippi versus Alabama. So both of us was selected for a corner. He was a receiver as well, so he played both sides of the ball in that game. I had to hold him, and he came on the other side with me. So just meeting him then, he's always been, we always carried that great bond. And even after he went to Mississippi State and Florida State eventually, we always kept that bond.
And I'm sure he was talking your ear off when he was the receiver.
Absolutely. He always talks trash. I talk trash to him, towards him, but, never so out loud where, people really see my confidence. It's for real.
All right, 2 more for you, Trey. First, I know in the wide receiver room they're fining the rookies. Any sort of fining going on in the DB room?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We get fined for, just, incorrect plays, things that we do wrong, probably drop picks, things like that.
You're not getting fined for no shoes in the shower. I heard that's happening in the wide receiver room.
We ain't, I don't think our vet's not that petty right now. But they just kind of, plays that we supposed to make, we get fined for things like that. Stupid, slow moments or anything like that, we get fined for things like that.
Last one from me, Trey. What is your biggest goal? Short term. I know long term, of course, it's NFL career, but in the next month or so of training camp, what's the biggest thing that you've said that's what I need to address?
Honestly, just getting better at my craft, perfecting my craft, going into understanding that this training camp is going to be a reflection of the season, and just getting better at everything that I potentially get on the field to do. So I can display the perfect Deantre Prince when I get out there.
There it is, Deantre Prince. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you as well.
And our thanks again to Trey for taking some time after practice yesterday. Jags are off today, I should say. 2 off days this week ahead of their first preseason game against the Chiefs on Saturday, which leads us to, ladies, not only our poll question, which we'll get to, circle back to that here in just a second, but also looking ahead to Saturday's game. Do we think we see lots of Trey Prince? Do we think we see lots of Jarian Jones? Do we think we see lots of Tyson Campbell when the Jaguars host the Kansas City Chiefs at 7 o'clock on Saturday?
I think we'll see. I think we will see a lot of Trey, and I do think we'll see a lot of Jarian, just because I do think there's certain aspects they're still trying to figure out back there, and they already kind of know what you have in Tyson and Andre. I do think we'll still see a little bit of them, especially early. Most teams at this point, you're seeing bits of the starters, even though I just saw the Panthers announce Bryce Young is not playing. Very weird to me, but I do think we'll see a little bit of everything, but I do think at this point they are trying to see the depth pieces and where everybody actually fits. But these 2 guys I do think also will be really important in the special teams aspect, so you will see them on the field a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I think rookies for sure. I don't know if Tyson Campbell will play. If the Chiefs don't play their starters, I don't know how the Jags defense is going to approach that. But my hope would be that guys that they need to see more out of in order to make the 53, those are guys that are going to play.
Yeah, I mean, I just get the feeling from Doug Peterson yesterday when he pushed back on this notion of, well, if the offensive line is nicked and bruised, shouldn't you reconsider? And, I've heard it from a couple different people around the league that they loved that week 1 of training camp. Doug Peterson said, no, I will give my starters run in weeks 1 and weeks 3 because they need to have that live game action experience. And so that's where it's curious. And, I tried to pry a little bit with Ryan Nielsen before stadium practice on Saturday because I am curious how important these preseason games are to the evaluation process, especially for a young rookie like Trey Prince.
What is the latest with Brandon Aiyuk? We will get to that next and go around the NFL. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on an Active Health Jacks Tuesday. Visit them at activehealthjacks.com. Be back on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Hey there, all you sports dads rocking the best dad bod possible. We love seeing you eat tacos by the handful, and we love it when you bring your kids here too. For years, Lucy claimed that her favorite thing on the menu was sopapillas, with a big scoop of ice cream. I know that's not a taco, but that never stopped her. I was shooting for Dad of the Year anyway, so I just let it happen. Taco-Lu's a great place to bring the family. There's something for everyone, as long as it starts with a taco. And a margarita for mom is always a good thing. At Taco Lu in Jacksonville Beach.
O'Reilly.
Your
Got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here. If you are looking to grow your career, Chick-fil-A restaurants are hiring and looking for folks to join their team right now. Chick-fil-A Jacksonville area restaurants are offering flexible hours, scholarship opportunities, and leadership development, just to name a few. You can find a friendly work environment with competitive pay and have fun at work with opportunities to serve your community. With locations all around Jacksonville, apply online or in person today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
AC replacement? If your AC unit is ready to go kaput, then it's time to call Florida Home AC. With over $3,000 in tax credits waiting for you on select systems, take advantage of it. Call 777-4300. Get Florida Home AC to cool you off.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 6, 2006, Tiger Woods becomes the youngest player to compile 50 PGA Tour wins with a 3-stroke victory over Jim Furyk in the Buick Open.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Mortgage rates are down. Yep, they've been dropping big time. So it's a great time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto's got APRs in the 5. So if you got stuck with a high rate last year and you want to refinance, this is a great time to call and lower your payment. Or it can use this opportunity to get cash out of your home's equity and pay off those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, other high rate debt. Loan Pronto can help you use these lower rates to get the cash you need in a matter of days. You can do a full refi, or you can do an Equity Express line of credit. Homeowners who call Loan Pronto typically cut their monthly payments by $850. Bottom line, your home value's way up, mortgage rates have come down, making this a great time to act. So call today for a free 30-second rate quote. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments by calling 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
Meet Abiana, talking about her experience with BioTarget Regenerative Therapy at Injury Care Centers.
I started doing the BioTarget therapy for plantar fasciitis, and I noticed an improvement immediately. It was almost impossible for me to put my feet down to take a proper step. After the first treatment, I was able to actually walk and do so without limping. I kind of felt like because they were offering a money-back guarantee, it made me feel like they're sure the treatment would definitely work. I would definitely recommend this treatment to anybody that I know because it works.
Stop masking your pain with harmful medications. There's a better solution. BioTarget Regenerative Therapy has helped countless others, and it can help you too. Call 904-92-REGEN or visit gobiotarget.com today.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars' new center, Mitch Morris, spoke with the media this past weekend on newly drafted defensive tackle Mason Smith, and is excited what he's seen so far and his potential to grow as a player this year.
Mason's got such a bright future in this league. You know, he's got the physical tools, of course. You can see that he's got these spurts of just not only athletic power, you know, he's really working some moves. I think your first year is such a monumental growing experience in the football realm, right? Like, so it'll just be fun to see him and work with him as these weeks progress, see him get better as a football player, immersed in this Nielsen defense, and come out and hopefully have a celebration of those moments on Sundays.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale Lighting, Fans, and Home Decor on 1010XL.
Taylor Dalmio, Brian R.J. Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Still scoreless in the semifinals between the United States and Germany. And I can tell you this game is incredibly physical, and the ref is letting them play.
Not quite the 4-1 score that we saw, 3-0 or 2-1, 3-1 at the half the last time these two teams faced 2 weeks ago. Quickly on the Olympics, ladies, before we get to around the NFL, and of course the very latest with Brandon Aiyuk, will he be traded, will he not? That is the question. I am curious, especially you, Lauren, your emotions, your thoughts following the final day of gymnastics at the Olympics yesterday.
I think that Simone Biles' redemption tour is complete. And did she win gold and everything? No, she ended up getting a silver yesterday instead of a gold. But I will say the fact that she thought her Olympic career was over after Tokyo, to be able to stay mentally strong, emotionally strong, I think having her husband there did help. And I know we can joke about, well, he shouldn't miss training camp, he may not make the team and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think what she needed him there. And that was more important than him making the NFL roster at this point in time.
And ditto to her parents and her sister, too.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that across the board, Taylor, at the Paris Games. There is something to be said. I mean, Sha'Carri Richardson went on the microphone yesterday and said how her grandmother is against flying, but flew all the way to Paris to see her. I
feel you, grandmother.
There is something to be said about these athletes having to live in a bubble when the Tokyo Games rolled around 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And again, I think in hindsight, and history will show that whether it was the NBA bubble in Orlando, the Tokyo Games, whatever it may be, emotionally and mentally, that's taxing. That it's literally you, your team, the sport. That's it. That's all you get. Especially when we hear players like Kevin Durant talking about how he loved going to see Simone. He loved getting to see, the track events. Scottie Scheffler cried watching Simone Biles win a gold medal. Like, I think even just being able to leave your hotel room is a stark contrast to where these athletes were 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I do think, to your point, Lauren, when it comes to there's realizations that like football is not everything, and that's what the Bears organization and Matt Eberflus were very vocal about. That like family is way more important than this game, and that's what he told Jonathan Owens. And go support her because that's your world. This is like just a little side piece of what is most important to you. And I loved that. I love that they were very open to just being like, no, like you will be fine. I think he'll still make the roster, no problem. But in those moments, it's easy for us to. When we're covering so much football and we love football so much, it's easy to get wrapped up into the like, oh, well, he didn't go to this, or like this is more important, or he has a chip on his shoulder, or this. I remember when Trevor was drafted, and that was a lot of the talk of like, he doesn't love football. He's good at football, so it comes natural and it's whatever. But it's okay to have other hobbies. It's okay to love other things. It's okay to want a family. Yeah, like it's okay. And I get it sometimes when, Aaron Rodgers goes off on his witch hunt in Egypt or whatever he did. It's criticized because of the way that it kind of went down. But at the same time, like all of these players have other worlds outside of football. And sometimes we have to learn to separate that.
And Kevin, of course, 1010XL MMA analyst Bo Valentine, reminded me that back in 2012, if you remember, Aaron Ross was given a pass by the Jaguars because his wife was competing in the London games, and he was allowed to go over there. And the Jags during stadium practice actually had the race up on the video board at Everbank Stadium. And so
we don't like him though.
Yeah, I know. But
did you see the clips, by the way, of Jonathan Owens? He was like taking notes during everything, like whether she was on the beam or whatever. He was literally like taking notes of her performance. And I'm like, I want to read his notes of if he was like, good job. And, like,
speaking of the beam,
he probably knows technically now. He's
probably talked to her so much.
Yeah, I mean, because on the floor yesterday, she stepped out of bounds twice. Like I'm sure he was taking notes.
Yeah,
right.
Notes of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Speaking of the beam, RJ, X-Files music, Lauren, let's be real. That's what I really want your gymnastics analyst insight into. How in the heck Simone Biles, Suni Lee, I know Rebecca Andrade didn't, but it felt like everyone outside of the two Italians and Rebecca, who, by the way, finished in fourth somehow, fell off the beam yesterday in the Paris Games. Was there something on the beam, a sticky surface that no one's telling us?
Well, if it was sticky, then they wouldn't fall off the beam.
That's true. So there's got to be something slippery.
I think it's just... Look, they've been competing and focusing and concentrating so hard now for days on end. Gymnastics started early in the Olympic events. And so I think they just got to the point where they're physically exhausted. I mean, we saw Simone, injure her ankle early on in the qualifying. And so I think that you come from, especially if you're a collegiate gymnast like a Suni Lee, you come from a completely different style of competition. All of your events when you're in college happen within an hour and a half. Yeah. Your entire meet, start to finish, is an hour and a half, even if you compete in every single rotation. And so I think they just were physically worn out. And like I said, I also think they'd been concentrating
It's like week
so
18
hard.
in the NFL. And they're just
right, exactly. And you're just like, my body needs a break.
Yeah.
And
It was
so
just one
the
after
team,
the
I
other,
think, event
though.
is,
Like, it was just a little like sketchy to me. That
But
like,
don't you think they would say something? Like, do you think the Olympians would say something like the beam wasn't right if it was, or they would just let it go?
No, I think they would say something. But I've
we
never
saw Jordan
heard of-
Childs. They voiced a complaint with an officiating dispute, and that completely changed the scoring of the floor routine. So I don't think they would have an issue speaking up.
I've never heard of something like that.
I just am curious in gymnastics to have that many competitors fall off the beam in succession. I was just like, what are we doing here?
Well, usually too, and again, this goes back to collegiate gymnastics, but when a teammate, especially the leadoff, falls off, it is so much harder for the next person to go up and to be able to go through the entire routine without falling off. That's where all the pressure mounts.
Because then I have to be perfect.
Right, because they're going to use your score. You want to drop the lowest score. And again, that's a different thing than we're talking about with the individual in the Olympics, the individual events. But I just think at the end of the day, like I said, they've put so much effort into winning the team final. Then they put so much effort into winning balance beam winning vault, and then winning the uneven bars, and then floor. Right? So at some point in time, something's got to give. And I don't like the way that Olympic gymnastics does it, spread out over all that period of time. I think it should be more concentrated. But in the end, I'm really happy for Simone, really happy for Suni Lee, really happy for Jordan Childs and the women for winning the team. The individual events are cool, but I think at the end of the day, it's still matters to them more if the team wins and beats the other teams. At least that's how I view it. All right, when we come back, we'll get to the latest with Brandon Aiyuk. Also, we will go around the NFL. We are seeing teams name their QB1s. Of course, down here in Jacksonville, we don't have to worry about who QB1 is, but I'm interested to see some of the other results that are happening throughout NFL training camps.
And by the way, we have another fight at joint practices between the Lions and the Giants.
They are just going at it.
I know the Lions are a physical outfit. It won't surprise you when we tell you on the other side which player for the New York Giants may or may not have started this fight.
That's right. We also have our highlights. It's an Active Health Jacks Tuesday here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Start Sunday morning with a balanced breakfast of football. Breakfast out of bed. Live from Tailgaters Parking on the Terminix Kickoff Show. 5 hours before kickoff of every game. Brought to you by Gatorade and Clearwater Irrigation on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Mia O'Brien here, and I know it's overcast, a little drizzly outside today, but once Hurricane Debbie, Tropical Storm Debbie rolls out, it is going to get hot outside once again, which means that your AC better be blowing nice and cold on the inside. If for any reason it's not, that's where my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are here to help. Their qualified service techs can handle any type of cooling issue at your home or business. Don't deal with the summer heat outside and inside. Give Duck Duck AC a call today to schedule service. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck AC is a licensed mechanical contractor.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us, and with that comes cooler weather. If you've been wanting to upgrade your outdoor living space, you should call the experts at Lifetime Enclosures now. From glass lanais to screened-in enclosures, Lifetime Enclosures and Flooring is the best in the business, so give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Every team has an enforcer.
Whether you like it or not, I'm a hard hitter and I'm a straight shooter.
Tommy Mack is ours.
I say it like I see it.
Fridays on Jaguars Today, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with Awaken 180. Between increased flexibility, strength, and endurance, breaking 100 or 90 or even 80 could be just 40 pounds away. Get there this summer with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com.
What U.S. state is closest to Africa? The answer coming up.
With storm season blowing wind and rain, it's even more critical to protect your valuable assets with a policy from Southern Oak Insurance. Ask your agent about Southern Oak today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The closest state to Africa isn't Florida, as most people think, but it's actually Maine.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
I'm Mark Cohen, new publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal, and I'm thrilled to rejoin the community. This event of the year is quickly approaching. The Fast 50 Award celebrates the fastest growing companies in Northeast Florida, August 15th at 3:30. Join us for an unforgettable afternoon of mingling with Northeast Florida trailblazers, high-level networking, and learning where these companies stand. Time is ticking and tickets are flying off the shelf, so grab yours before August 13th. jbjevents.com.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Pick it here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by USA Park. After completing the first week of preseason camp for the Florida Gators, head coach Billy Napier addressed to the media, stressing the importance of creating a covenant between the team while adding new rules to this year's camp.
You need covenant, right? You need three things to have a covenant. You need bond, you need pledge, and you need commitment. And I think that one of the things we've been emphasizing throughout training camp is that bond, that connection, that chemistry, that morale. New rules for training camp this year, right? So no phones in the training table, no phones in the recovery area. Being intentional, put that phone down and have an opportunity to spend some meaningful time together and connect.
It's 78 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Probably one of the catchiest songs in not just 2024, I feel like the last 5 years.
Song of the summer, I was told when it came out, and it has lived up to that hype.
Mio, Brian Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Let's get to Brandon Aiyuk before we get to Around the NFL and our highlights. So a lot of people on Twitter know who Pretty Ricky is.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly if you're not on Twitter, you're probably like, I've never heard of this person. Well, he's somebody who started an account a few months ago, and it took off because of the fact that it seems like he does have inside information. He doesn't work for a company, and so the only access to him is through Twitter. And so certainly the bigwigs, like I would say Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, I don't think they really like that this person has come along and isn't really someone who they can necessarily trust, but he does seem to have some serious information. Well, he certainly has been saying for quite some time Brandon Aiyuk is going to be traded. And now the verified people, I'll say, are saying that, yes, Brandon Aiyuk might be traded.
Yes, Adam Schefter reporting this morning that the Niners are now listening to offers for Brandon Aiyuk, and they have given him permission to negotiate a contract with other teams. That, of course, comes on the heels of an attempt at a contract extension back in May. Of course, as you may remember, my reporting in March when that was the initial, and again, I'll go back to kind of my side of things here. That was the initial moment of Brandon Aiyuk's representation Athletes First. You may be familiar with that company. Athletes First saying, all right, we recognize that Deebo Samuel is being paid handsomely right now by the San Francisco 49ers, as is Christian McCaffrey. Oh, and by the way, they are going to have to pay the piper and pay Brock Purdy at some point or another. Could they afford to keep all of those major factors in their ecosystem? And that's just the offensive side of the ball. And so that was the first notion of Aiyuk's representation saying, you know what, let's just have the backup plan at the ready. Let's just start putting feelers out there. Let's see if there is mutual interest. And they found many teams with interest. Well, yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars being one of them at the time before they drafted Brian Thomas Jr. And the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the other early names that were rumored to be linked to Brandon Aiyuk. The New England Patriots have gained a lot of steam in the last few months. All the while, John Lynch has been adamant that they are not trading Brandon Aiyuk, but now from Adam Schefter himself, we are hearing they have given him permission. 49ers on NBC, that's the NBC affiliate for the Niners, Bay Area, NBC Sports Bay Area, that channel out in California, they reported yesterday that there was a framework in place for a trade for Brandon Aiyuk for both the Browns and the Patriots. Gerard Mayo said yesterday, if I learned one thing from Bill Belichick, it's that I'm not going to comment on players on somebody else's team. Pretty Ricky, though, has been adamant that the Steelers are indeed going to be the mystery team that eventually lands Brandon Aiyuk's services.
Yeah, it is interesting. Schefter also said that it's going to be a very complicated deal to get done. If any team's going to compete in a deal, they're going to have to satisfy the 49ers needs, which are very hefty, is what it sounds like. So he pretty much was like, it could happen within the hour, it could happen not at all. He also said he does not think it would be Pittsburgh, but I have seen a lot of things about Pittsburgh, and the Patriots and the Browns are the three that obviously we're hearing right now. I think that I love Brandon Aiyuk. I think he's fantastic, and whoever does land him is going to be very lucky, or if the Niners keep him, they continue to be very lucky with the talent they have. But it is, I would not doubt if it was they're asking for a first rounder. And sometimes when we've had the situations before where they're letting them seek, they're letting them talk to teams, whatever. That sometimes I feel like is a trick for the team, the Niners way of being like, okay, let's go see what some of these teams offer you. And then when they're not getting what they want, they're like, we told you, you're not getting offered what you think you're worth right now. So just settle down. We'll figure it out. It happened with Jalen Johnson and the Bears last year. Honestly, at the trade deadline, they were saying that he was gone. And he let him talk to teams. 5 months later, he gets a massive contract from the Bears. That's just kind of the situation it is sometimes with teams. They're playing their cards. The player and the agent is trying to play their hand. And so it'll be interesting to where this actually lands, because I do think as much as the Niners have, I do think he's still a pretty big part of that offense. But somebody like Pittsburgh, that would be fantastic.
Well, here's the other side of this. And again, in terms of what the compensation would be for such a trade, the only person who's hinted at it is Pretty Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious, if you are the San Francisco 49ers and you wanted at minimum a first-round pick, not a pick swap, at minimum a first-round pick during the 2024 NFL Draft for Brandon Aiyuk. Oh, and by the way, whoever that team is also has to pay him. Are you looking for a first-rounder again as he plays on the fifth-year option this year? In the case of Pittsburgh, are you going to include a player?
Yeah.
George Pickens, pretty appetizing piece, out either whether he's alongside Brandon Aiyuk and replaces Deontay Johnson and then some, or are you looking for one of those young playmakers that the Steelers have? Because as much as, yes, we've certainly lamented, sorry, Taylor, the quarterback position in Pittsburgh over the past few years, you can't deny that Mike Tomlin and company have certainly assembled quite a few playmakers outside of the quarterback position that may be of interest. And again, I don't know anything on this front.
Yeah.
I have no intel, so don't run and tell Pretty Ricky or anybody else. I am just genuinely interested if this will solely be for draft compensation or if there is a player involved, if this is to be a blockbuster trade.
If you're the Steelers, why on earth would you give away George Pickens?
Yeah, I don't see that. But I saw an interesting one yesterday, and it was another one of the just kind of rumors of this is kind of what we're hearing of going on. And it was the weirdest thing because it was like a later pick, so like a second, third, and a player from each team. But the Browns were going to give up Amari Cooper, but the Patriots were going to give up Kendrick Bourne. And I was like,
Right. Well, I mean, Zay Jones was the name floated here attached to a first-round pick. So, again, it's Kyle Shanahan. He figures he could scheme anybody up.
And I'd rather have Aiyuk than Pickens, but still, that's a building block for your organization.
Yeah, and honestly, George Pickens, he's had in his short little career that he's had in the NFL has had like 3 very bad quarterbacks passing to him, and he still looks like he's going to be a very good wide receiver.
He and Aiyuk would be a great 1-2 punch, but I'm just curious if this is really the blockbuster trade that so many people believe it is, and if the Niners are looking for the compensation, that I believe they are. Is there a player attached to this deal, or is it solely draft
just a pick
compensation?
Yeah. And that's why it'll be fascinating to follow along. Or I feel like at this point this was Players Week that it first dropped about Aiyuk. So at this point, it's almost annoying to me. Like all these posts that keep coming up, but I'm like, just let me know when he finally gets traded or in week 1 when he's still playing with the Niners.
And again, let's circle on back. Taylor, and this is with all respect to what David Mulligetta and company have built, but who represents Brandon Aiyuk?
Yeah.
Who has asked for, or rather created a spectacle to get traded out of their current location before? Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun Watson, the list goes on. It is right out of the playbook.
Yeah, drama with a lot of those players for sure. And look, I think at the end of the day, Aiyuk will be on a different team. It's just going to be interesting to see which team is it. If I'm Aiyuk, I don't really want to go to New England with the status of that team. I probably would pick the Browns over the Steelers, although that may be a toss-up, just depending on, at least you know who the quarterback's going to be in Cleveland. Whether or not you think he's good, that's a whole different conversation. You're not exactly sure whether Russell Wilson or Justin Fields are going to be the quarterback in Pittsburgh, and certainly that can affect the chemistry, because at this point in time, if you're getting traded in August, you've already missed several weeks of training camp practices with either of the quarterbacks or all 3 of the quarterbacks.
Also, if you're Brandon Aiyuk, like, do you really want to go to Pittsburgh? Like, no, like, look, I mean, if Justin develops, then there's a path there.
Yeah.
But
you're also talking about Mike Tomlin and a team who has not been under 500 in his entire time. So
and
yes,
a great
I do
offensive
think
line.
he would want to go to.
But again, but the quarterback that would be throwing him the ball remains in question.
Yeah, and I think that because I was reading one of the guys, he's a publisher for the 49ers on Sports Illustrated, and he's like very in depth in that, and he's been very vocal that Aiyuk wants to go to Pittsburgh, but the Niners want to send him to Cleveland. And so there's some like weird gap of what the agreement of what's all going on. So it's like the 49ers and the team and Aiyuk all trying to figure something out that works for everybody, and it just doesn't seem like
And
it's
meanwhile,
happening.
him and Jaden Daniels and Antonio Pierce were trying to scheme something up a few months ago as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jaden Daniels, he is QB1 as far as the Commanders are concerned, but 2 other rookie quarterbacks will not get that nod. Up in Minnesota, Sam Darnold gets the QB1 designation when the unofficial or first official depth chart was released. Of course, that over J.J. McCarthy, and most people by now have seen reports that J.J. McCarthy throws a lot of interceptions up there in Minnesota. And then Jared Stidham will be QB1 over in Denver ahead of Bo Nix. Any surprises there?
And ahead of Zachariah Wilson, Lauren. I mean, let's not bury the lead here.
I mean, the Zach Wilson thing, if he plays again in the NFL, it will be, I think, a very short stint. He'll be on another team, and eventually he won't be in the league the next few years.
We need to dig up. So back when I was still at the TV station, I did a series. It was literally called Denny's QB Camp, and I'd have our good friend Denny Thompson, the quarterback whisperer, on. And this, of course, was during the Jags' purgatory years of quarterback play until Gardner Minshew emerged, and then the decline of Minshew and the rise of Trevor Lawrence. But we did a pre-2021 draft. Let's go through Trevor. But then we did another episode of everybody not named Trevor in that heralded 2021 draft class. And he said, this is, again, 3+ years ago, Denny said then, Zach Wilson is either going to light the league on fire or he will be out of the league in 4 years. There's no in between. And that is where we are.
Yeah, he would join us every week on the Frangie Show, Denny would, and at Island Wing Company usually. And I remember him saying, like, the second best quarterback in this draft class is Zach Wilson. And if the Jags can't get Trevor, they'll be fine getting Zach. And I was always like, are you sure? Like, that guy? I mean, he just doesn't seem like a prototypical NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
And to this point, he obviously hasn't been.
Well, there was a point before, like when Jags still technically had that second pick before Frank Gore was our savior. And there was talk, I remember at that point, of, okay, well, Trevor and Zach are right about the same level. Like either of them could go first overall. And I remember being like, no way. Like, I don't see it, but maybe I'm missing something, because there would be certain quarterback guys like a Denny that's like, nah, like he could be really good. And I'm like, I don't see it, but
that's the tricky part about quarterbacks.
Yeah,
they can certainly fool you. All right.
No surprise, though, Lauren, about Jaden Daniels, with all due respect to Marcus Mariota. No surprise with Sam Darnold. And that's not a knock on J.J. McCarthy. That was always the plan. I've said it, and I'm going to say by it. I don't know if the Vikings make the postseason, but I do think they're going to surprise some people because I think this is the year that Kevin O'Connell says, like, I am just as good as scheming up anybody as my mentor, Sean McVay, as my mentor, Kyle Shanahan, once upon a time were.
Yeah, that one, it's funny because I have heard so much negative about J.J. McCarthy so far in camp, and he just doesn't look ready. But then one of the guys we've actually had on here previously, Thor Nystrom, we had on to talk about the Vikings during draft month. He is so high. I mean, like his entire, if you go to his Twitter, is just like, look at this throw, look at this throw. The Vikings have been waiting for a quarterback that had this arm and this ability for a really long time. Like, this is going to happen. Like, he's adamant that J.J. McCarthy is going to be in within the first 3 weeks. So we'll see because the other side of everything I'm saying is very opposite of that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about Darnold over J.J. McCarthy. We do know that the Michigan offense was certainly run first, and J.J. wasn't asked to do a lot, so that doesn't surprise me. Jaden Daniels, we all watched him. There's a reason he won the Heisman, and I think LSU could have won the national championship if the defense had held up its end of the bargain.
By the way, did you see Jim Harbaugh's comments about when they were asking about Michigan?
Yes.
And it was,
I am not aware.
People are like, because he's pretty much like, that's their problem now. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie, blah, blah, blah. And everyone, like all the comments on this was like, this man's a sociopath. Like he's a full-on sociopath.
Yeah, people enjoy following him because he says some outlandish things. But yeah, just to say you're not aware when you were the head coach is crazy. To me, the Denver one is the one that surprises me because now 4 years ago, if you had told me Bo Nix was not going to win the starting job over Jarrett Stidham, I would have said, well, yeah, duh. I watched him play quarterback at Auburn. But his evolution as a quarterback there at Oregon, I thought he would win the job over both Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix. But I think this is also one of those things that maybe they want to just give him a little bit more time to learn.
Yeah. Before we take our next break, as you know, we refer to you, our listeners, affectionately as Heeligans. However, if you try to rile us up, if you're out here with some negativity, pouring it into the universe, first of all, don't do that. Secondly, you are a hillbilly. 612 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. I know you're looking out for us, but buddy, what a hillbilly you are. We understand we are having some technical difficulties on certain of our radio frequencies, let's say. There was a hurricane that just rolled through. Yeah. We apologize for that. Our engineers have been on site since 4 this morning trying to get that signal for those of you in our western listening area back up and running. So 612, on behalf of 1010, I apologize. We are working towards that. But the beautiful thing is, guess what? You can listen on the app. You can listen on YouTube at the MyBookie Digital Studio. So many ways to check us out, and hope everyone is staying safe in the aftermath of Hurricane Debbie.
Well, so he's not a hillbilly if he's sad he can't listen to us, right?
He kind of just called out the station, so I didn't like that too much.
Well, I appreciate somebody wanting to listen to our show. We still have our highlights. Taylor has a tangent. We've got a lot to do here on this Active Health Jacks Tuesday. You can visit them at activehealthjacks.com. I've certainly recommended them to several people already, and you can also give them a call at 904-296-0202. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Women's soccer semifinals. Team USA and Germany are scoreless as they get ready to start the second half. Women's volleyball, the U.S. swept Poland to get to the semifinals. Next up for the defending champs will be Brazil. The U.S. men's basketball team will face Brazil in the quarterfinals later. Winner gets Serbia, which erased a 24-point deficit and nipped Australia in overtime. Right now, France leads Canada by 16 at the half. Winner there will take on Germany. 14-year-old Arissa True of Australia takes gold in women's park skateboarding. American Bryce Wettstein finished 6th. The U.S. looks for its first ever medal in women's hammer throw. Deanna Price and Annette Echikawoka both finished top 4 in qualifying. With this Summer Games update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
DQ presents... Picture this. Picture the DQ $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Not just a cheeseburger, a bacon cheeseburger. Plus fries, drink, and a sundae. All full-sized, all for $7. Because everything's better with bacon. Everything's also better with a side of fries, a refreshing drink, and a sundae to finish. Yum. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Wellness means something different to each of us. And at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we believe every step is an opportunity to enhance your well-being. Whether it's guided group runs and workout gear on demand, or nourishing food options and restorative rest in our heavenly bed, when you travel, you can find wellness at Westin, one of 30 hotel brands in the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio. Find wellness at Westin.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Lauren Brooks here. Come test drive the Mazda CX-90, engineered to fit your lifestyle. Take advantage of 1.9% APR for up to 72 months on a 2024 Mazda CX-90. That's the largest three-row SUV that Mazda offers. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expire September 3rd, 2024.
Hey there, all you sports dads rocking the best dad bod possible. We love seeing you eat tacos by the handful, and we love it when you bring your kids here too. For years, Lucy claimed that her favorite thing on the menu was sopapillas, the big scoop of ice cream. I know that's not a taco, but that never stopped her. I was shooting for Dad of the Year anyway, so I just let it happen. Taco Lou's a great place to bring the family. There's something for everyone, as long as it starts with a taco. And a margarita for mom is always a good thing. At Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
The Money Pages brings you this week's Red Zone Featured Player of the Week. Number 44, Jaguars linebacker Trayvon Walker. Walker played college ball for the Georgia Bulldogs and was drafted by the Jags first overall in 2022. Make sure to pick up this week's Jags game program with a commemorative ticket of Trayvon Walker inside. Download the Money Pages app for weekly specials. Money Pages, official sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Today's challenger, an asphalt marketer from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Sheldon Fish. Today's category, air conditioner repair experts in Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, I bet it's going to be Bueller. Your question. Unlike Jacksonville, the Sahara Desert has a complete lack of air conditioner repair experts. What kind of camels do they ride?
That's
Not really a question about air conditioner repair.
5 seconds.
But that's a camel question.
Pick a camel, Sheldon.
Arabian dromedary.
That's right, Sheldon. Like the majestic Arabian dromedary, the skilled technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair any make and model of air conditioner the same day you call, making sure you are cool.
They don't spit, do they?
No, but Steve, the new guy, has a bit of a hump.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing scalp micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Before we get to our heel highlights, do want to remind you of our question of the day right here on Helmets and Heels. We heard from Odds PR. They have the Jaguars' best odds as winning 2 or 3, because it's the same odds for both, of their first 5 games. How many games do you think the Jaguars will win through their first 5 games? We've got about 100 votes cast so far. 55.7% of you agree with Odds PR. You think it's somewhere in that 2 to 3 ballpark, except for our friend Duval Doom, ladies. In case you missed his predictions, he just sent us his whole season game-by-game predictions. Our friend Doom has the Jaguars starting out 1-4 and finishing the season at 10-7.
1-4 would be a rough start. I know people would be panicked all around Jacksonville and Jaguars fans all over the world, but finishing 10-7, assuming that wins the division, certainly that would be good as far as if you can make the postseason. Of course, that's going to be a big question as we get through the season, or at least halfway through the season, is what is the rest of the AFC South doing? What record is it going to take in order to win the division? We've seen 9-8 win the division. We've also seen 9-8 not win the division in the last 2 seasons, so certainly that's a thing. Still scoreless, by the way, in Paris, the semifinal in the Olympic Games between the United States and Germany. Rose Lavelle was just subbed out. We're in minute 66 now, and they put Lynn Williams in. Lynn Williams had an almost goal, but it went on the side of the net. So I say almost. It wasn't really a shot on goal, but it was close. And so certainly hoping the United States can score here in the near future. I will keep you updated as we continue. All right, we mentioned our highlights. RJ, hit it.
Now, Heels Highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
The moment when you find out your sister won a gold medal at the Olympics. Congratulations, Thea LaFond.
Bring the flag! Hey, your sister just won a gold medal. Yeah!
I hope you like Jazz. Jazz Chisholm hits 4 homers in his first 3 games as a Yankee. First player to ever do that and all that jazz.
1-2. Driven deep to right field. Did he get it? Did he get it? Oh, he got it! A 3-run home run. Jazz has done it again, and the Yankees take the lead, 5-4. Goodness gracious. Jesus, what a first impression for Jazz Chisholm Jr.
The United States wins the 4x100-meter mixed medley relay.
It is O'Callahan trying to make up ground. Husk trying to hang on. China is hanging tough up above him in lane 3. Australia third. Husk right there won the silver medal. Yang above her was 6th, but they were very tight in that 100 freestyle. Husk trying to hold on to the gold medal for the U.S. O'Callahan is trying to inch up on China and the U.S., but it looks like Australia's going to have to settle for the bronze. Tori Husk trying to hang on for the gold for the U.S. Don Shawan is trying to get to the wall first, and no, the U.S. wins gold.
I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing.
If I'm ever in a bad mood, I'm just going to start to replay some of those swimming highlights from this year's Olympic Games. That finish, we talked about it yesterday, how incredibly hard Tori Husk had to work, and the fact that the United States was able to win gold. Our friend Ryan Murphy was on that team, along with Nick Fink and Gretchen Walsh. It was just an unbelievable moment.
Yes, and I think the fact that the relay teams ended the final 2 days in the pool as strong as they did for the Americans. Rowdy Gaines circling the number of gold medals the United States had over Australia. I know. The fact that we only get Rowdy X amount of times a year or X amount of times every 4 years is very unfortunate.
Put him next to Gus Johnson in a
Can we do that?
booth.
I want to put Rowdy and Gus in a...
They're not going to catch Christian Kirk. They're not going to catch Brian Thomas Jr.
Christian Kirk, big time wide receiver. Oh my God, that would just, there's those of you who already are clutching your ears as I'm trying to impersonate them. I can't even imagine actually hearing that. But it would be amazing, in my opinion. No, I think that the United States, as much as, yes, we did not have a Caleb Dressel 5 gold medal performance. We did not have a Michael Phelps 8 gold medal performance. I think overall the depth and the quality of the United States swim program proved its worth over a week and a half's time in Paris.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, we talk about this certainly with women's soccer. Other nations are catching up, and it's a good thing as far as competition and viewership. When you watch, you get to see some really close races. The 1,500 meters in men's and women's wasn't close between Katie Ledecky and Bobby Fink, but a lot of the other races, certainly the shorter ones, were. So it's good to push these athletes. Your highlight, Taylor, was also Olympic related.
Yes, it was. It was so Tyla Fond. It was the first medal ever for like the small Caribbean island. She's from Dominica, but she won gold. And I know it's not USA, but one thing about me is if you show me like side stories, back stories, anything like that, it's going to get me emotional. So I was like crying in my office watching this video because it was so cute. But her brother is a defensive end for Navy, and he was at practice when she was competing. And so the coach stopped practice and was like, "Hey, come here." And so he walks over and he's like, "Your sister just won gold." And the whole team just like picked him up and they're all cheering. And it was like, I'm crying like thinking about it because it was so cute. But I'm like, what a cool moment for her. And if you go back and watch that video, it was really, she ended up not even having to do her final jump because it was like, you can, but you already won. So she didn't, but she just like gets down on her knees and starts screaming, and then they're crying, like her and her teammate were crying with each other. And then it flashes over and it's showing her brother find out the news, and he starts crying, like, so he puts his hands over his eyes, and it's just, I'm sure a moment for them because it's family, but also for their country. That's obviously a huge moment for their country. But yeah, so things like that, anytime you give me some sort of side or backstory, it's going to make me extra emotional for whatever the reason. But yeah, it was beautiful.
I honestly thought that your highlight this week would be in reference to the enshrinement for the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the fact that Steve McMichael got to go in, and certainly we talk about emotional.
Yeah,
that was his
that
wife
one. I definitely would. I've
sister.
cried so many times the last week over the Hall of Fame stuff between Devin Hester and him getting emotional, and then Mongo, and when they brought the jacket to Mongo at the house, and they had a bunch of the 85 Bears were in there. I was crying in that moment. I was crying in the moment that Devin got it. Then even like Julius Peppers comes up and he was like, as always, bear down. And I'm like, okay, this is too much emotion for the week for me.
Well, Mia, did you cry when Jazz Chisholm homered?
So here's the thing. I was a little skeptical of the trade for Jazz Chisholm. Not that he's not a good player. I'm sure our Marlins fans out there are probably very upset with the fact that he is the first player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in his first 3 games with a new team after being traded. I understand your frustration, but he's a guy who's kind of been up and down, has played multiple positions. When he's cold, he's cold. When he's hot, he's hot. He started out hot. And what is wild to think is perhaps his worst game in a Yankee uniform so far was his first game, in which, because of traffic delays, construction delays, which I saw firsthand back in June outside of Logan Airport in Boston, it took him an hour and 45 minutes from when the plane landed to actually get to Fenway Park, only 7 miles away. And so he only showed up for that Sunday night baseball game. I think it was like an hour and 22 minutes before first pitch. Since then, not only has he looked awesome, the Yankees have looked awesome, we have a pulse, swept the Phillies, who I think are the best team in baseball right now, and I understand they've kind of had some ups and downs over the last month or so too, but swept the Phillies, 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays, 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. We have a pulse, which is very exciting as we make the turn for August and head down the home stretch of the season, but I do think, and I want to relate this to football, ladies, because as we always try to do here on Helmets and Heels, Jazz Chisholm says to me that same conversation we were having yesterday with regards to the Jaguars offense of 2022 versus 2023 versus 2024. The idea of circle pegs trying to fit into square holes. Ultimately, what the Yankees needed in their lineup was someone who remotely poses a threat, not named Juan Soto and not named Aaron Judge. Granted, the emergence, which I can't believe I'm saying, the emergence of Austin Wells, the fact that DJ LeMahieu has found himself of late, the fact that he's not hitting below the Mendoza line has also contributed to that. But I think the presence of Jazz Chisholm changes the trajectory of that offense, and I do think hitting is contagious. In the same vein in which we look at Marvin Jones Jr. and we say, you know what, he's not as talented as Calvin Ridley, so that should be an upgrade for the Jags offense. Not necessarily. If he is the perfect circle peg to go into the circle hole and Calvin Ridley is the square peg, then the offense will not be operating at peak efficiency. And so, look, is Jazz the sexy name that the Yankees have traded for at the trade deadline before? Yeah. No, but he's the right peg to fit into that hole in that lineup.
Yeah, and if he's also hitting with runners in scoring position, that's also good.
And that's something the Yankees struggled with. And the fact that now you have someone where you can walk Aaron Judge all you want, but he's still lurking around the corner. And now you put Aaron Judge on base, so have fun with that.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of baseball and backstories, I did not know the backstory for Christopher Morel. I have only ever heard you talk about him, really, Taylor, and then now that he's a member of the Rays, I read the story of how he basically had a bunch of glass shatter around him, a glass door just shockingly shattered completely around him, and he was hurt, as you know the story. Mm-hmm. He was hurt for quite some time. They weren't sure how quickly, if ever, he could play baseball again. Yeah. And so that moment, kind of like the whole Christian Kirk story that we talked about a few weeks ago with Ty Dunn, that moment shaped him and his future, and that's why he's always having fun now. It's why he has the smiley face on his glove. And I love stuff like that because it gives them, the players, that extra little bit of, like, I can relax even if things aren't going well because I know that it is just a game.
Mm-hmm. And have fun. That's what we were talking about yesterday.
With Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah. Absolutely. Have fun. We are having fun. We have one segment to go. Taylor has a tangent. We also have our Chick-fil-A giveaway. Keep it right here on an Active Health Jacks Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World,
simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again. 2.99% year one. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Daytona always brings the drama.
Everything's on the line. The risk will be higher.
3 wide.
Look how insane this is.
Gunning to keep playoff hopes alive. It's now or never.
It's the most stressful night of racing that you'll ever go through.
For an unforgettable weekend of family fun, high wattage star power, and a front row seat full of fireworks. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
As soon as possible.
at 641-1010.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night in Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, fall and winter registration is open. Find out what I-9 Sports offers across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Wide receiver Gabe Davis, who signed with the Jaguars as an unrestricted free agent back in March, spoke with media on day 11 of camp on the chemistry with the wide receivers and the focus of building chemistry with Trevor.
It's good. The receivers are great, man. It's awesome being in this room. Love all the guys in there. And then with Trevor, we're continue to keep trying to build that chemistry each and every day. I feel like we got our slants down packed. He kind of hits me where I want him every single time, and our slim routes are real successful. So, but other than that, we just keep going and keep trying to get on the same page.
Sound courtesy from Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Putting a bow on our Olympics conversation for the day, although hopefully it's not an end because we're in the 83rd minute right now between the United States and Germany. Hopefully you get Lauren Brooks live screaming on the air as the United States
that would
scores
be great.
a goal.
I can give you a good goal if the United States
They're
scores
currently 0-0. I've already heard from several people on the personal chat line, Lauren, that they wish that they could see us during breaks as you're living and dying with every missed shot by the United States. But
we're not hitting the ball well today, but continue.
As much as the MyBookie midweek picks will be out tomorrow, I don't want to take a victory lap. I'm going to take a victory lap, and I'm going to tell you to go on over to mybookie.ag now and get this number while you can. In the men's 57-kilogram wrestling freestyle event, which doesn't begin until Thursday. It'll be Thursday and Friday. I told you guys last week, take Spencer Lee. At the time, he was plus 400 because Micic, the favorite, formerly of Northwestern and Michigan, the Serbian, that he was minus, I think, 200 at the time. But I believed in Spencer Lee, not just because of the Iowa background, but because he was the number one player in high school, a 3-time national champion, all in on the Spencer Lee train. Micic withdrew yesterday morning with a knee injury, and Spencer Lee on mybookie.ag and almost every major sports book went from plus 400 to minus 330. Get him while you can. And for those of you who took my advice last week, good on you, because I think you'll be very happy in just a few days' time.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 quick ones. One, we're all human. Just some of us also have gold medals. But Simone Biles just tweeted, just woke up from a much-needed nap. And I'm like, that's just me after like a normal day here at work. But good for her. But no, I think going back to our conversation that we had at the top of our show and what the first 5 weeks could look like for the Jaguars. And I do think it is important because most people are expecting the division to be competitive. So you don't want to get to the point where those last 4 or 5 games, although easier than the beginning, are have to wins, and you're having to beat divisional opponents in the last 4 or 5 weeks to scrape into the postseason. So I do think, like I said, going 500 in those first, let's say, 6 games is really important, especially with how difficult that schedule is.
I would like to note, Taylor, because we got to bring this to the conversation for those listening on the radio and not the MyBookie Digital Studio. We have a wager going on the heels of your takeaway. So apparently, Jeremy and Hef on our MyBookie Digital Studio chat line have a little wager going. If the Jaguars are 5-0, Trevor is in the driver's seat for MVP, and Jeremy says he won't say anything about number 16 for the remainder of the 2024 season. We are holding you to that, my heel again.
5-0 would certainly be impressive. The Jags start at the Dolphins down in Miami. Then they take on the Browns here, not the Bears. Browns here, then they are at the Bills, then at the Texans, and then again going up against the Colts back here at Everbank Stadium. My takeaway is something that we actually didn't get to today, but Caitlin Schroeder will transfer from Alabama to UNF and participate in the women's golf team, or on the women's golf team there. She has 3
round of applause, RJ.
3 years of eligibility remaining. We are good friends with Scott Schroeder, the men's golf coach there at UNF, and excited to have Caitlin, who was certainly a very high top recruit back a few years ago. She decided to go to Alabama. I wanted her to go to Florida, but this is, I suppose, second best thing. She'll be competing at North Florida. So just wanted to give her a shout out, and we will certainly be following her career once she comes back to Jax.
And for you Gator fans who are hoping to hear from Nick De La Torre today, he had some scheduling conflicts. He will join us on Friday in the 12 o'clock hour, and we'll have 2 more days of Gators camp under his belt at that point to give us some more insight into what we can expect from Billy Napier year 3, and at the very least, year 3 of training camp.
All right, we talked a little baseball earlier. Taylor Dahl has a tangent regarding hardball.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
My tangent is about a team who is having a very bad time right now, and it's the Chicago White Sox. I obviously do not like the Chicago White Sox, but I'm to the point where it's just honestly really sad. If you do not know, they tie the American League record with the Athletics with 21 consecutive losses at this point. And aside from that, the Phillies have the most consecutive in history with 23 straight in 1961. So there are a couple games from that. And ironically, which this could possibly break my heart, but that 21 could possibly be against the Cubs on Friday. So we'll see, or if the Cubs give them their first win in that many games. So we will see. But the White Sox are 0-55 when trailing after 6 innings. They blew an 8th inning lead to get to that 21 straight loss. So there's a lot of stuff going around this. Obviously, Ken Rosenthal he's predicting that some changes are coming soon. It's wild to me that nothing has been done yet. But the crazier part to me is going back and looking at the Chicago White Sox in 2021. Like, people thought this was a team that was going to be competing and going deep into the playoffs, and they did that season, but they had guys like Grandal and Abreu and Tim Anderson, Eloy, who got hurt that season but was supposed to be this big factor in it, Andrew Vaughn and Moncada and Adam Eaton, all of this roster who, by the way, I think they had 4 or 5 guys on the All-Star team that year, 4 of which were all pitchers, and then Tim Anderson was a part of it too. But it's just crazy to see the downfall of what the White Sox have done in just these few seasons. And last year, after a bad season last year, they thought was bad. It looks even worse now. And the manager made a comment this offseason saying, hey, we're going to have to make this roster better. And quite frankly, it's much worse, clearly. I could go through a long list of statistics of everything that has been bad, because if you know, in the beginning, I think they got shut out. It was like 8 consecutive games they got shut out in the beginning of the season. And people were already like, this is bad. But now this team has lost 21 straight games. And it's insane to me that a baseball team can lose 21 straight games.
And of course, the finger pointing begins and ends, in my estimation, with Jerry Reinsdorf. There were notions that he would sell the team, that this would be a complete fresh start. Instead, I mean, is it like limbo? Is it lame duck? Like, I don't even know what to make of the situation on the South Side, especially because, to your point, Taylor, I went to a game for the Chicago White Sox in 2021 at, U.S. Cellular, whatever they're calling it these days.
Guaranteed rate
field, whatever it is. And at the time, again, that's 3 years ago. This is how fast life comes at you. 3 years ago, they were the darling. They were the up-and-coming team. They had all these young prospects. I don't know if it's a matter of just simply baseball and guys don't necessarily always pan out the way we expect, but the fact that it was so many guys who they were banking on to develop into elite top 10, top 20 players, and they just didn't, that for me, it falls at the hands of coaching, development, and ownership.
Yeah, and that's where the finger pointing is strong right now, because a lot of people are saying, well, they also have had talent that they just haven't played to the level that they should have or they had in previous years. When we go back to that 2021 roster, everybody in that starting lineup was batting like 250, 260, or 300 plus. Like, there was not a batter under 250 at one point on that roster. And then all of a sudden you have guys that can barely hit 200. And so that's what's interesting. It's a combination of, I think, players underperforming. I do think there were some not ideal moves in the offseason that maybe they thought would benefit them and it ended up not. But I do think also the developmental side, because that's part of it too. They also had one of the better farm systems at that point too. And people were like, this isn't the end. This is the beginning of the White Sox. And within 2 years, it completely shattered.
It reminds me a little bit of the Jaguars back in that stretch of like 2011 through 2016. Here were the Jaguars' wins: 2, 4, 3, 5, 3. And then, of course, 2017 happens. But that is, I feel like the conversation here was...
That's like what you want in one season.
No, I would
combine all of
If
that.
we're going to compare it to the Jaguars, Lauren, I would compare it to 07 to 08, where you thought your window was still open. And you go all in, you trade up for Derek Harvey at 8th overall, and you're like, our window is now. And suddenly there's a regression to the mean and then some. And because the window was... And you could even go to the 2018-2019 team as well, where you were banking on, everyone's going to continue at this trajectory, and then across the board, it just does not pan out.
The problem after 2017, and this was a lot of people look back, they did lose a good amount of pieces after 2017, and then I think they kind of locked on to Blake Bortles. Defensively, they lost some pieces. But then they locked on to Blake Bortles, which a lot of people didn't think that was the right decision at the time. And so it is interesting to compare because you go and you think of a team who you think is on this trajectory of being really, really good. But with the White Sox, it was offensively, defensively, like they had every piece that you possibly needed. And and then thought they got better, and they truly did not.
Because it's not like they shipped anybody out of town.
Yeah.
And it's not like
until now. Now they're like, okay, well,
right.
we
They
got
didn't
him.
even give anybody, to your point, they didn't even give the Blake, if you may, a major payday.
Yeah.
They had all these guys under team control for X amount of years on cheap rookie 6-year initial draft pick contracts. And it just went to the wayside real quick. And so that is where I look at that situation. And if from 1 through 9 in your lineup, you saw guys regressing over the course of a 3-year period, year after year, that's no
Some
longer on the
internal
player.
issues.
That is on coaching. That is on development.
Yeah.
Because the Jags, in my scenario, in 2009 and 2010, they were 7-9 and 8-8. So they had just made the playoffs like 2 seasons prior to that. So people thought they were headed in the right direction. Oh boy, they were not. By the way, we are in extra time. There was 5 minutes extra time. So we've got about 2.5 minutes left to go here. And then, of course, if there is no goal, then we will go to overtime, and there will be 2 15-minute periods. Even if a team scores in the first 15-minute period, they will definitely still play the second 15-minute period. It's not golden goal or sudden death.
As Matt Hayes joins us now in the studio, I know he is very much rooting for a goal to occur while he's in here so he can watch Lauren Brooks go crazy.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
Matt, welcome in. Sorry, I normally look you in the eyes, but I
Jeez,
do
a
have
little
to watch. I do have to watch this.
I told
game.
you. I said it because I know you're getting a kick out of this, Matt. Yeah, Lauren is as locked in can be.
A minute and a half
Doesn't
left.
like nothing
No.
phases her. It's
Yeah, I can't focus on anything
it's
other
like
than
Kramer and
this game.
Seinfeld. Woo!
All right, Matt. So we talked about the Jaguars' first 5 games at the Dolphins, home against the Browns, at the Bills, at the Texans, home against the Colts. How do you think the Jags fare in the first 5?
It's difficult. It's a difficult road. There's no doubt about it.
It is.
That's why we were talking yesterday with Charles Davis, and we've been talking all offseason about the Miami-Florida game and how it's so big for those two teams. Jags and the Dolphins is huge for both of those teams, and I know it doesn't mean anything in the division, and I know it's it's only 1 out of 17 games, but that's especially with each of them with what they've done in the offseason, how they've paid their quarterbacks. Now they're in the position where look, we need to feel good about moving forward and where we are and what we're doing. Yeah, I think it's critical for both of them.
Well, and Matt, I think too, because we talk about like just straight up the win-loss. Like obviously you want to win the game, but I also think if the Jags look like a team that are truly competing with Miami and holding up, we're leaving that first week like, oh, this offense is clicking really quick with 2 new receivers, a new center, the defense with a new defensive coordinator, a lot of new pieces. Everything clicks week 1. You're very optimistic coming out of that game.
Yeah, you're optimistic going into those 3 difficult games.
Yeah.
Those are 3 heavy lift games. You really look at it, especially if Deshaun Watson is playing back to where they think he's playing.
Do you think he will be back to where he's playing?
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know, but
the defense is good. The
thing
defense,
is, for all that nonsense, he was one of the top 5-6 quarterbacks in the league. Remember when they were walking up the
He also
field?
didn't play for like 2
J.J.
years.
Watt was apologizing because they didn't help him out.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson took a bus here and still beat the Jags after the lung issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
you
are
have to
bad
remind
days.
everybody about that.
I do, yeah. By the way,
just for that, I hope you don't see a goal. How about that?
well, I'm not going to because they just went to break. But I do think, to Taylor's point, there can be maybe a moral victory in the NFL. But there's definitely not a moral victory since you referenced Florida Miami. There's no moral victory if either of those teams lose.
No, that's a must. It's a big must, actually.
Before we get primetime cooking, Matt, I am curious, especially on the news that he's on the Doak Award watch list, even though every running back in the country is on the Doak Award watch list at this juncture. Montrell Johnson had the arthroscopic surgery over the last few days. Right now, we don't know the timetable for his return. Are you concerned for that aforementioned Miami-Florida game because of his status?
They love the big freshman they have. Treon Webb's going to get a lot of carries, whether Montrell Johnson's ready or not. My guess is that's a lot to ask if you have surgery and to be ready in 2 or 3 weeks. So, they say he's going to be ready. From the latest we've heard is that he's expected to be ready for that game. My guess would be Treon Webb's going to be getting the majority of those carries, which is great. Let's see the local guy, see what he can do.
Yeah, I told them after going to Gainesville for the spring game, seeing Jaden Baugh in person was so impressed. Big and very fast and explosive. What do you guys have coming up on the show?
We're going to talk college football, a lot of college football. We're also going to start to kind of try and winnow down the roster, the Jags roster. So we'll see how we can go.
Sounds good. Well, we'll be listening. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thanks, ladies.
All right. That's going to do it for us.
We have something
today.
to give away.
Oh, that's right. We do.
We did not give. We have to give away our lunch for the ladies. So we have lunch for 2 to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call, 641-1010. Let's say caller number 1 right now gets lunch for 2.
Caller number 1 is right. Thanks for reminding me. I've been a little too locked in on the soccer game. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. But of course, don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is up next.